friends, hello, welcome back. It is my favorite time of the season. We are doing NHL ratings predictions. We're doing the NHL 23 ratings predictions today. We're going to the left wing department. As always, you get to number 10, you get to number 11. Can kind of be difficult to figure out who you're going to squeak in there. We're starting off the list with number 10 of the Winnipeg Jets, Kyle Connor. Now, Kyle Connor, he did regress a little bit this season in the goal scoring department, but Kyle Connor, again, through in and throughout, year after year, has been a proven 30 goal scorer, and for that reason, you're going to find a way to get this kind of list, and you're going to find a way to get him into an 88 overall. Coming in at number 9 is Johnny Gaudreau. Now, Gaudreau just came off a historic 40 goal, 115 point plus 64 season with the Calgary Flames, and the EA said, all right, Johnny, we're going to give you a 90 overall to start NHL 23, having that sort of season. He comes over to Columbus this past season, doesn't have quite that performance. He still manages 24 goals, 74 points on a beaten and battered Blue Jackets team last season. He continues to prove that he is a very good winger in this game. That being said, though, you consider we had last season. You're going to bring that into this season. We always try to remind people every single year, EA's ratings aren't really properly rated, balanced by any stretch of the imagination. Everything, you pretty much have to be a 5-tool player to get a proper rating in this game, because everything weighs so much on the defensive awareness, the offensive, the stick checking, the shot blocking, the strength. Whereas, typically most video games, like the running back doesn't need throwing accuracy to be good at be good at running back or whatever. But in this game, you got to have that kind of stuff, which to an extent it does make sense. You are a defensive player on the ice, but at the same time, a winger, a center, kind of, you'd think the rating would be a little bit skewed heavier towards offensive stats and make your rating go up more. But because that's not the case, with Johnny Gaudreau being a much smaller player, a much lighter player, he's a much less physical player. That's what kind of wrecks his overall every season. Even if he goes out there, he could lead the league in points, he could win the Hart, and they probably still wouldn't give him much over a 90 overall, because the defensive stats, the strength, the balance, stuff like that, it's so much lower because of his size in the game. So we're going to say Johnny Gaudreau hits the 88 overall this season once again. Coming in at number 8, it pains me to say it because I like Johnny Huberdeau. I like Jonathan Huberdeau. We can't even get the right name out. Jonathan Huberdeau. I don't know what happened. This is a guy that was top 3 winger in the league conversation. And that trade happens, and he falls off the face of the map. I mean, this guy dropped 55 points last season in 76 games played. Man, I hope he bounces back. And, we've seen this in the past with Calgary, where that first line, that team offensive, for some reason, they'll regress for a year, then the next season they'll tear it up. And I hope that is the case for Jonathan Huberdeau. I want to see this guy succeed, but, just based off what he did this season, you have to believe he's going to see himself a substantial downgrade in them ratings. We're going to say Huberdeau has an 88 overall. Number 7 is Gabriel Landeskog. Now, Landeskog's been doing this for a long time now. Dang near a decade plus. And EA's kind of been the same with Gabriel Landeskog. And this is what we try to remind people again with the ratings. Sometimes it's a product on the field. Sometimes we look at just the way EA's rated players in the past and understanding like, hey, first of all, they play on ice, not the field. Quentin, thank you for pointing it out. I know that would have been in the comments. That's all right. We're got a lot of football and baseball in mind lately. But anyway, thing about Gabriel Landeskog, he kind of gets the same 87, 88, 89 rating every single year, depending on how EA's rating system's kind of put together. Sometimes ratings are a little lower. Recently, we've seen them go up a little bit higher on average to start the year. Landeskog last season, 89 overall. I don't imagine that changes. Gabriel Landeskog's really been the same player for years now. He's a great two-way player. He's got to put up some points. He'll get you a few goals. He's a very physical player, and he's just consistent. He's a consistently good player for this Colorado Avalanche team, and I expect him to stay at the 89 once again this season. Number 6 is Brad Marchand, and I don't know what to do with Brad Marchand. It feels like he regressed a little bit this season, at least from a defensive standpoint. He's consistently in the Selke voting every single year. He didn't quite make it this season. His points per game dropped below a point per game for the first time since 2015 this season. Overall, though, his points per game over the last 3 seasons still ranks 5th amongst left wingers. All that being said, sure, it was Could have been a better year statistically, whatever. EA typically does not punish proven players, especially highly rated ones for, and I know we just brought up Huberdeau. I feel like Huberdeau could have been an exception because he hasn't been up there for a long time, and it was a really bad season. But typically he does not punish proven players like that, or EA doesn't really punish them. EA is very big on, not year by year product, but like overall product. What have they given me the last couple years? Which is all right. If that's the way they want to do the ratings, that's the way they want to do them. We just try to predict them the best we can. That being said, we think Brad Marchand probably drops 1 overall point, and we're going to drop him down to a 90 overall. Coming in at number 5 is Kirill Kaprizov. Now, Kaprizov came in the game, NHL 23, as a 91 overall. In my eyes, Kaprizov did nothing to really say, hey, I deserve a downgrade, but I don't think he really lit it up much more substantially to say, hey, upgrade me. 40 goals, 75 points last season, 67 games played. Had an excellent season for the Minnesota Wild, and I expect this guy to stay put, and deservedly so, be up there with the elite of the elites this season, 91 overall. Coming in at number 4 is Jason Robertson, and this guy, history being made here. This is, for me, in my recent memory, this is one of the biggest jumps I've seen a guy make from one year to the next in an EA NHL video game. Kaprizov didn't even make the top 10 wingers list last season. This season, leads all wingers, tied for first with 109 points, leads all wingers, left wingers, we should say to clarify, with 46 goals this season. He even cracked the Selke voting this season, which again, I get it, winning the Selke, it's just a couple votes, but when you're getting thrown a couple votes, that means other players in the league, other people in the league are recognizing you as a good defensive player. So not only is he putting up Genos at will, not only is he putting up points at will, but he's showing his ability to be a two-way player, and those are the guys that can get some scary good ratings in this video game, and for that reason, I think he gets a big upgrade this season to the 91 overall. Coming in at number 3 is Alex Ovechkin. Ovechkin doing Ovechkin-like things. 42 goals. Another excellent season out of the goal scoring, the stud, the future Hall of Fame left winger. Now, his assists were down this season. His plus minus was down this season. And that's not the first time we've seen this out of Alex Ovechkin. I know he's getting older, but there's been times in the past where, minus 35 comes to mind. It doesn't really slow EA down, and I understand why, because again, he's such a respected goal scorer in this league. And for that reason, I don't think he sees a big downgrade. I don't really think he sees much of one at all. I think maybe he ticks down a little bit, if anything. But overall, look at Alex Ovechkin. 37 years old doing this. You got to tip your cap to this guy. In a league, and we have to keep this in mind, it is one thing to score a lot of goals. It's one thing to be an absolutely stud of a playmaker and, make it to 30, 31, 32 and still play at that level. But to get to 35, 36 and play at that level is very, very hard to do in this league. It's very hard to do in any sport. Ovechkin's been doing that. And then you add the fact that he is, we call him a sniper in the game, but he's the best power forward in the league. Power forwards, these big physical guys that lay the body down, play a physical style, a grinding style of hockey, if you will, to an extent. Those guys typically do not last in their 30s. And you understand why. There's a lot of wear and tear on the body. But here's Ovechkin, 37 years old, playing at an elite level still. Man, there's a reason this guy is going to have a spot in the Hall of Fame, and it's not going to take very long for him to get there. Ovi with the 91 overall. Coming in at number 2 is Artemi Panarin. Artemi Panarin comes into NHL 24, spotting the highest points per game amongst all left wingers over the last 3 seasons at 1.24. Panarin has proven as a winger something that is very difficult to do as a winger. He has the ability to just put an entire line on his back, help them all produce, help them all eat, and that is just the sign of being one of the elite of the elites. Came into NHL 23 as a 92. He's going to come in NHL 24 as a 92. Coming in at number 1, the man that finished with 40 goals, 69 assists, tied amongst all left wingers for the most points in the league. He comes in top 20 in Selke voting. He comes in as a Hart finalist. He comes in as a culture changer. He comes in as a guy that just brings that it factor, that guy that can get under your skin, that brings that defensive grittiness to playoff hockey for your organization, that brings your team to the Stanley Cup Finals. We are talking about none other than Matthew Tkachuk. Now, Matthew Tkachuk, top of the list, and here's why. 40 goals. Great goal scorer. Leads the league in points. Knows how to play make as well, obviously. And then you talk about how this guy is known to get under opposing team skins. How he is known for his two-way ability, his big body, his physical style of play. He is a 5-tool player, if there was such a thing, in the NHL. And those guys, again, we talk about how important the defensive ratings are. He's going to get those defensive ratings up there. You can talk about how important the offensive ratings are. He's going to get the offensive ratings up there. And I think that's the reason we see him creep at the top of this list, because he's overall, I mean, if you remember Jonathan Toews back in the day, I think that's a good example. He was always spotting like a top 3, 4, 5 rating in the game, even though he wasn't putting up ridiculous points per game. But Matthew freaking Tkachuk, well, not a center, obviously, but Matthew freaking Tkachuk, I think of guys like that, Mark Stone back in the day as well, where he's getting great ratings because of his defense. I think he's going to get a great rating. If he would have put up 60 points this season, I think his defensive abilities gets him an 88, 89. But you say he dang near doubles that. I think he's going to hit that number 1. We'll see. A brand new number 1 this season at left wing. Love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.